I'm about to give you the exact script that you say to get rent-to-rent deals. I have interviewed hundreds of people on my YouTube channel, and they're all saying they're making tens of thousands of pounds a month from rent to rent. We know what it is. It's when we rent a property and then we rent it out on serviced accommodation, Airbnb, and make a small fortune every single month. The problem is, how do we actually get these deals? How do we get landlords and letting agents to give us these deals? Well, I'm going to explain that in this video. Why don't you start by hitting the like button, just to show a little bit of support for me giving you all this amazing value that's going to help you become financially successful in your life. Hit the like button. Firstly, when you ring up agents, you need a story. That's the first thing. Don't ring them up and just go, oh, hi, could I, do you do rent to rent by any chance? Like, no, you need to tell them a story. And the story can't just be, I just watched a Samuel Leeds YouTube video and I went to rent a property and then rent it out on Airbnb. It's not the story. You need to have a story that is unique. And I can't give you a script for a story, because then everyone's have the same story, and then before you know it, the letting agents are like, ugh, hit this again. So the story needs to be, what makes you unique? I can spend 5 minutes with anybody, and I can ask you a few questions, and I can craft you a brilliant story. So for example, if you are I was chatting to a guy the other week who's he's a landscaper, gardener or something, I don't know. And I said to him, right, how many people do you work with? He's like, oh, there's about 10 of us. I said, okay. And do you have multiple branches or whatever? He goes, I'm just a landscaper. You know, we've got a few branches. How many staff are in the company total? How many landscapers within your whole company? He goes, like, maybe 50. I said, cool. So your story needs to be, when you ring up letting agents, hi there, I'm ringing up about this particular property. Is it still available? And as soon as they say, yes, it is, you tell them your story. And your story is, I'm a landscaper. I'm actually working with about 50 different landscapers at the moment, and I'm looking at the property, and I would be renting it through a company, and you know, some of the landscapers would be needing to stay there as a bit of a base. I just wondered, is it still available? Now, when you've done that, straight away, you've told them it's a company let, you've told them a little bit about your backstory, so now you've kind of made them intrigued, or they're like, okay, they can picture you, and you've told them you're going to be promoting the property to your landscapers team. Now they've got something in their head. You are 90% more likely that they'll then be like, okay, that sounds interesting. Okay, well, maybe come and have a look. Than if you just went, it's a company let. Because now they're going to be like, well, what does your company do? Who are you? What do you mean, huh? And they've heard it a dozen times already that week. So story. Your story could be, I'm a nurse. I'm working in a hospital, and I'm actually going to be renting the property through my company and promoting it within. Now, you might go, hang on, but is it going to just be nurses in the property? Well, not just nurses, no. It's not just nurses in the property, but you have a story and you're telling them, they're now able to picture at least something. You're giving them an example of who might be in the property. There was a guy who said to me, I don't have a story, and I was working with him, mentoring him. He goes, I don't have a story. I'm 19 years old. I've got no story. I've just left university. I was only there a couple of weeks. I've left. I've got no money. I'm living with my mom. I've got no story. Nothing to say. And I said, okay, well, what you need to do is, where do you live? And he told me, Watford. I said, right, ring Watford Hospital. He rang Watford Hospital. I said to him, speak to HR. Press to speak to HR. I told him what to say, and he just said, hi, I'm getting some properties. I'm an investor. I just wondered if you ever had doctors, nurses, contractor staff that were looking for some accommodation. And then the lady he spoke to, Deborah from HR at the Watford Hospital or whatever, said, send me an email. So he's all right, fine. Takes her email. That's it. Can you do that? Yes. Now he's got a story, because now he rings up letting agent and says, hi there, I'm ringing about this such a property. Is it still available? Yes, it's available. How can I help? Yeah, well, my name's Liam, and I've just got off the phone to Deborah from Watford Hospital, and she's asked me if I can keep her posted of any properties, because she's looking for properties for her nurses, doctors, and stuff, and that's why I'm here. So I just wondered if I could have a look at that property, or if you've got any others that we could potentially rent. That's the story. Is it true? Yes, you did just get off the phone to Deborah from Watford Hospital, and she did tell you to email her any properties that you've got. She did. So you just crafted a story. I need to spend a bit of time with you and craft you a story, okay? But anyway, that's the first thing, story. Tell them your story. It's unique, it's different. And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Now they can picture it. And now they're going to go, okay, great, okay. So how can I help? And you're going to be like, yeah, I just wondered when I could book a viewing. Don't say, do you do rent-to-rents? Would that work? Could you? Don't go up. So when could I possibly get around the property? I could get there Tuesday or Saturday next week, but what works best for you? See, what works best for you, not what works best for you. You don't go up, you go down. It's a command. Now, if the agent now kicks back, well, who's exactly going to be living there? And what do you mean? And right now you flip the cards. Now you say, Well, look, as I mentioned, I've been speaking to Deborah from Watford Hospital, and she's asked me to send her some emails of some properties that could potentially work with doctors, nurses, right? But to be honest, Stacey from Dixon's, I need to see the property to see if it's suitable first. So how about this? Why don't I come and have a look around, see if the property is suitable, and if it is, I can make you a proposal, and we can see if it will work. How's Stacey from Dixon's going to argue with that? She can't. At this point, she's just going to go, oh, okay, then, well, yeah, all right. No guarantees. I need to speak to the landlord, though. Yeah, of course you need to speak to absolutely fine. Well, listen, you need to speak to the landlord. I also need to speak to my business partner. I need to speak to Deborah from Watford Hospital. Why don't I come and have a look around, and then I can make you a proposal, and then you can put it to the landlord and see where we go. So when's best to come and have a look around? I'll get probably 50%. If I hit the phones, even cold trades, I'm getting 50%, I'm getting through the door. Now, when you're through the door and you're there, now you've got the viewing booked, and they've said that they're open to company lets, and you've got a viewing, and they know a little bit about you, a little bit. Now you're going to do due diligence. Now you're going to work out how much can I rent this property out for on Airbnb? How much will I get as an average nightly rate? What will be the average occupancy rate? You're going to do your due diligence. Again, I can teach you how to do that. Easy. Or you can just go on Deal Sourcer, which will show you how to work that out. I'm going to leave a link below for Deal Sourcer. You can sign up for a free trial, and it will show you how to find out the average occupancy of a property. You can do that below. Now, when you're around the property and you've had a chance to do due diligence, and you know you can put forward a strong offer, now you put forward your strong offer. And you say, listen, as I mentioned, I spoke to Debbie from the hospital, but this looks really good. I'm also working with relocators, some contractors. I've got some different companies. But listen, and now you're in person. So you can properly explain how it works. Guaranteed rent. This is the contract, company let. And you can now showcase. And I could spend forever talking about how to do that. Listen, if you want a full rent-to-rent script, I can happily give you that. I usually save this for my students that I'm working with, but I want to give so much value on YouTube, okay? So I'll leave it in a link below. So you can get Deal Sourcer for the due diligence. There's a free trial on that for 7 days, but I'm happy to give you a free script, downloadable script. Click the link below, get the script. We're in a revolution right now. It's never been easier to make money. But you need to know what you're doing, because there's people out there that are trained, that know what they're doing. So get the script, download it, study it, and I look forward to getting to know you soon. Thanks for watching.